Welcome to session 6 of the continuing story of Citibank Cash Management India 1985 to 1989. So in the previous session, we talked about the tasks that we needed to do to get to providing a 100% solution for our target market companies, which were the top 300 companies in India, on handling all their cash, all their collections rather, which were primarily done by checks. So we defined all the tasks, and then we found all the roadblocks that would be there in completing those tasks and came up with innovative solutions for partnering, for developing a technology solution, and so on and so forth. And then we implemented those in 90 days by working in a parallel fashion and not a sequential fashion. And we moved on to building the largest network for cash management in India by partnering with regional banks. And this network ended up being bigger than the largest bank in the country, State Bank of India. And the remarkable thing was that this was built by a foreign bank. Citibank was a foreign bank in India, and the environment was not easy, but we were still able to build this network. Now, in this session, I want to talk about the importance of fieldwork. So we spent a lot of time, including me as the head of the business. I did a lot of travel. So I, like one of my friends says, that there is the school of Juta Ghiso, which means that you walk around and sort of get the soles of your shoes dirty. You have to move around. So who were some of the people that we visited? So we visited the branches of our bank partners because we knew that if they just get a circular from the head office of their branch, even though it's the head office, they are not necessarily going to be very enthusiastic about implementing it. They'll have all kinds of questions and objections. And if we try and tell them what we are doing, why we are doing it, and so on and so forth, and listen to what their objections are and sweet talk them, and realize that also they're very happy to get people like us to visit them and give them importance because we are coming from a foreign bank, we are coming from Bombay, we dress well, we speak differently. So taking all these psychological and other factors into account, we have to motivate the branches of our bank partners if we want them to deliver excellent service to us, which we need, because without their cooperation, we can't deliver excellent service to our customers. Then we wanted to visit the branch offices of our customers. Like now, these branch offices, they've got a directive from their head office to deposit the checks with Citibank. But Citibank has very few branches and it's maybe located very far. So how do we get them to do this? And as you'll see in the next slide, we had to come up with an innovative solution because this was a real problem. Because these people don't have extra manpower. They're not going to travel 20, 30 kilometers, to kind of deposit checks. So they had a legitimate browse, which the head office would not have been able to solve. So we had to come up with a solution for this. Now, we would not have really found that out unless we went and talked to a lot of them and said, how do you like this? Do you think this is a problem, etc., etc. Now, we also ended up visiting the check givers. That is now the people who gave these checks and demand drafts to these companies and gave it to them. And there we found out very many things, that some of these people were unhappy because earlier they used to be able to tell, say, the salesperson that, I've given you this check, but suppress it because will need to wait for some time before I have money in the account. So the salesperson would go to their bank branch and tell that person, the branch manager, hold this check for a few days, don't deposit it. And the branch manager would oblige. Now the system was changing because they had no further control. Now it was all through a centralized thing. So we found out that problem, and then when we went and talked to the head offices of the customers, they actually told us that no, they were trying to stamp out this practice, and this really affected their risk management. So they were delighted that now this loophole was being eliminated. But by talking to them, they also really liked the fact that we were doing this juta kisao kind of thing, and really helping them come up with solutions. And we will see in later sessions how this sort of all panned out. But let's move on now to one of the missing links that we identified. So for our solution to work, we needed couriers. Now, couriers today are very widespread. But remember, we are here in 1986, and couriers are just very, very nascent in India. So we actually in Citibank Cash Management can claim some credit for actually nurturing the fledgling courier industry in India. So there was a company called TNT Skypack, which was like an Australian company, I think, which had started off or had some kind of relationship with an entrepreneur in India. And we started working with them. And we helped them grow their business maybe 1,000 times. And Citibank Cash Management was probably 80 to 90% of their revenues. But because we needed them, we actually worked with them, just like a auto company or a truck manufacturing company works with their ancillaries. So in a very similar fashion, we worked with them to set up their own processes, look at their hiring, see how they were doing things. And because we needed them to, one, go to the branch offices of our customers all over in the metros and collect checks from them and deliver them to our branch. So that was one function we needed them for. And the second function that we needed them for was to collect these things called BR1s, which on the basis of which our bank partner would credit our account with based on their branches BR1. So the BR1 was issued when the checks cleared at that particular branch, and they said that there were no return checks, and they put the number of the checks deposited minus the return checks on the BR1, and then this BR1 was collected by courier and came to then Citibank deposited these BR1s with our bank partner. So that's how the system worked. And then later, if I remember right, there were certain places where instead of mailing checks to the branches in remote areas, we actually started couriering checks and trying to get the drafts that they would give us based on the proceeds of those checks when they were cleared in those local clearing systems, and we'll get them back by courier. So these couriers were a very, very important link. And if we had sat back and not been proactive, then this business would not have developed. The last slide in this session is on the daily control report. I talked about the daily control report earlier. Now, since our business had so many moving parts, many more than before, we had to track each of them. And if there was a problem, try and eliminate the root cause. So we never lost sight of the importance of the daily report. The report became more complex, but every day it was there on my table in the morning when I walked in to work. And I looked at it and started making calls to various trouble spots and things like that, and trying to figure out how we can eliminate the problems that the the report was showing, and how also we could make, so if it showed some really nice signs that this particular customer was picking up and so on and so forth, then we try and find out why and see if we could replicate that with other customers and stuff like that. So it was not only looking at bad things, but it was also looking at good things and seeing how we can replicate that. Well, that's all there is for this session. We will continue this soon in the next session. Thank you very much for listening to me.